Board of Commissioners is called to order. For purposes of attendance, I will now call the roll. Connor.
Here.
Geiger.
Here.
Gibson.
Here.
Jackson.
Here.
Parker.
Here.
Smelker.
Here.
And Wing.
Here.
Will the commissioners, staff, and guests please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The clerk would entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, moved by Geiger and seconded by Wing. All those in favor, please state aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, nay. The agenda is approved. The first item is the election of the chairperson. Michigan law allows for the election of the chairperson by secret ballot. Does any commissioner wish for this vote to be by secret ballot? There being no such request, we will now entertain nominations for board chairperson. The floor is open for nominations.
I'd like to nominate Heather Wing for chair.
Second.
And Connor. Commissioner Gibson, supported by Commissioner Connor, has nominated Heather Wing for chairperson. Are there further nominations? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. The clerk would entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 20-01, a resolution for the election of Heather Wing as board chairperson for 2020.
So moved. Support.
Commissioner Smelker, with support of Commissioner Gibson, has moved that the resolution to be adopted. I will now call the roll. Ms. Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Geiger.
Yes.
Mr. Gibson.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Smelker.
Yes.
Ms. Wing. Mrs.
Yes.
Wing, thank you. There being a majority of commissioner in support, I declare the resolution adopted and Heather Wing duly elected board chairperson.
Thank you so very much for your support. Election of the vice chairperson. The floor is now open for nominations.
I would nominate Vivian Connor.
Support.
Moved by Smelker, support by Gibson, for the nomination of Vivian Connor for vice chairperson. Are there any further nominations? Hearing none, nominations are now closed. The chair would now entertain a motion to adopt Resolution 20-2, a resolution for the election of Vivian Connor as the board chairperson for 2020.
Board vice chair, right?
That's what I mean, board vice chair, sorry. I was reading from my script and not proofing it. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Geiger with the support of Commissioner Gibson. Moved that the resolution to be adopted. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Connor.
Yes.
Mr. Geiger.
Yes.
Mr. Gibson.
Yes.
Mr. Jackson.
Yes.
Mr. Parker.
Yes.
Mr. Smelker.
Yes.
Mrs. Wing.
Yes. There being a majority of commissioners in support, I declare the resolution adopted and Vivian Connor duly elected vice chairperson. Limited public comment at this time. Any member of the public may address the committee for up to 3 minutes. Hearing none. Appointment of committees by chairperson.
Board rules first.
Oh,
Board
sorry, board rules. I asked everybody to take a look at board rules back the first part of December. There have been a few that have been changed. I noticed when I go through Commissioner Geiger's list,
Oh, I'm sorry. I got that in my brain. Okay. Board rules. So we've had a little bit of time to look at some of the board rules. There was a typographical error towards the end, and there was some suggestion for some language that needs to be inserted in D on page 7 of the board rules. So I'm gonna, the chair would entertain a motion for the adoption of Resolution 20-3, a resolution adopting rules for the Board of Commissioners.
Move.
Moved by Parker, support by Connor, discussion. So now I can keep talking. There was a recommendation from Mr. Stoker that we include some additional language that the Open Meetings Act provides for. We have not ever had to include an emergency meeting. It's listed on that page and it's highlighted on the backside in blue, and that's in the Open Meetings Act, where we can call an emergency meeting without the 18 hours of time that we have to post for a special meeting. But realistically, I think it would take us 18 hours to all get to the same place anyways, and so we would probably still meet that posting deadline. It's the pleasure of the board on how you'd like to proceed with that recommendation from Mr. Stoker.
I have no idea why we would need an emergency meeting that's before the 18 hours. What type of business would we have to address?
I think if our nuclear reactor went off in the
Yeah.
county, maybe, but I don't think that we could get the 7 of us together in that short a notice.
We got one of them, haven't we?
And you only have to have a
that I
2/3
know.
majority to be able to do that.
An emergency meeting.
Yeah, so,
Emergency manager might come up with the reason they need it.
well, if the emergency manager calls a meeting, then I'm on the hot seat and I gotta get there quick. But I don't know, I mean, Open Meetings Act allows us to have one. I don't know that we have to address it in our board rules. It was just a recommendation that maybe to look at adding or looking at for the future. The other recommendation, the next recommendation, would be section D, in the procedure part, D on page 7. It is a little unclear. It says, any citizen may comment upon agenda items prior to the taking of a vote thereon. Speakers other than commissioners, after being recognized. So if we all recognize them, I think it should say, and the recommendation from Mr. Stoker was recognized by the chair, should be added, so that it's formal that the chair has to be the one to recognize, or whoever's running the meeting, versus just, yeah, we all know they're here.
My policy was, when I was the chair, that after all the commissioners have completed making comments or asking questions, that's when I would recognize people from the floor.
They're just recommending that we add the words by the chair, just to make it clear on who's supposed to recognize members from the audience.
So after that, after being recognized by the chair.
Yep.
I'll make the motion. Oh. I'll make a
Okay.
motion to amend the bylaws on section D, or procedure section under D, citizen participation, to add the words, after being recognized by the chair in the second sentence.
Is there support?
Support.
moved by Smelker, or moved by Connor, support by Smelker, to add the words "by the chair" after being recognized. So that sentence would read, "Speakers other than commissioners, after being recognized by the chair, shall identify themselves by name and address and shall ordinarily limit their presentation to 3 minutes." Discussion? Hearing none.
What's the purpose of it?
to
Unless the time is
clarify-
otherwise extended by the chairperson.
Well, it's just to clarify who is recognizing the people in the audience. So if you have to run the meeting, you have to recognize who from the constituents would talk. If I'm running the meeting and you tell Sharon, "Go ahead, Sharon," that I'm supposed to be the one to recognize somebody from the audience that would like to speak.
Okay.
Because otherwise it gets confusing on who's doing the recognizing.
Well, one of the concerns I would have is, or by, we're still gonna have by vote of the board, right?
Typically.
Well, the reason I'm saying is if the chairperson doesn't wanna have that person speak,
And then there's a vote by the board, then they can still speak.
yeah, so that isn't necessarily only by the chairperson that they
Yeah,
can
but
be
if I
recognized.
say, I don't want to hear from Sharon, and the other 6 of you say, "Oh, yes, we do," then you guys just overruled me. So you if I say no, then there's still the 6 of you to say yes. So, and that's that little,
I don't think it matters too much.
sorry, I'm picking on you today, Sharon. So any other discussion on the amendment? Moved by Connor, supported by Smelker, to amend procedure section D. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then section I on page 8, there's a typographical error. The F that's in parentheses should be G instead. I think that we had inserted something and didn't catch the G when we proofed it the last time. So, would you like to make that a friendly amendment? Or would somebody like to make the motion?
I'll make that a motion to correct the error in section I, number 1, from F to G.
Their support?
Support.
Moved by Connor, support by Gibson, to amend section I, comments from the floor. The F in parentheses needs to be changed to a G. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the amendment, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now on the board rules as a whole.
Move to approve.
Moved by Geiger, second by Parker, to approve the Berry County Board of Commissioners Rules and Procedures and Regulations.
Can I amend my motion to adopt the resolution?
Sure.
So it's technically correct. We have to adopt a resolution to approve the board rules.
As amended?
Mm-hmm.
Make that motion?
Yes.
But you wanted to amend your
Amend my motion to adopt the board rules by resolution 20-03.
03. Let's approve the board rules first and then adopt them,
Okay?
because we just amended them. All those in favor of the amended board rules, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The board rules passes. There being no further discussion, the question before the board is adoption of the resolution 20-03.
I'd move for adoption.
Support.
Moved by Geiger, support by Jackson, for the adoption of resolution 20-3. A roll call is required. The clerk will call the roll.
Yes.
Gibson,
Yes.
Jackson,
Yes.
Parker,
Yes.
Smoker,
Yes.
Connor,
Yes.
Wing.
Yes. The board rules are adopted. Sorry about that, stumbling through there. Appointments of committees. Per the rules of this county and this state, the appointment of committees are made by the chairperson and ratified by the whole board. After speaking with each commissioner about their strengths and goals and after considering the needs for this county, I am submitting to you my appointments for ratification. Therefore, the chair would entertain a motion for the adoption of Resolution 20-4, a resolution ratifying the chairperson's appointments to the committees of the boards of commissioners.
So moved.
Support.
Moved by Geiger, support by Gibson. Discussion.
Yes. I would like to change my appointment, if I could, from the Health Department. And Madam Chair would recognize maybe John Smelker for that substitution.
I would take it. Do you want my judicial? It's up to you.
I think Dan has taken one of my boards that I could no longer serve on, so it's up to you and how busy your schedule.
If you have other stuff scheduled, then it doesn't bother me to do judicial.
Okay, let's leave it as is then.
If I can't make it, will you substitute for me?
Yeah, I'd be glad to substitute. And I think it's gonna be good for the Health Department Board. I think it's gonna get some new, not new ideas, but not necessarily, but a new way of looking at different things for our board, because you'll have another perspective on it too, and I think it'll be good. And expect John will do a good job with that.
Any other discussion? So I'm striking Parker from the Board of Health and adding Smelker, but I'm not changing judicial council.
Okay, I'll be glad to be a sub, though.
Okay.
Okay. The other change that needs to be made from the list that we have is Local Emergency Planning Committee. That needs to be the board chair, so I'm going to strike Geiger and add Wing. We do have two positions that don't currently have a commissioner. One is solid waste and one is tax allocation. Since I am only sitting on 3 committees, and I used to sit on 5, I think I'm not carrying my weight sometimes. And I would be more than happy to take both of those for the time being, unless there seems to be conflict. I know that other people have expressed a desire to be on there. I just think that I'm not carrying my weight when it comes to extra meetings if I don't take them. Not that it's my goal to do either. It's just I think I don't want there to be a implied inequality of the work.
I'm more than happy to give both of them to you.
Jeez, thanks. Any other changes? I know that Commissioner Connor had expressed an interest to not serve on the Commission on Aging Board. Is there any other commissioner that would like to change their an appointment and help her with that? Or I know she has a lot of interests in other areas and she's very adept at picking things up quickly. I just didn't know if there was somebody else that would.
When do they meet?
Excuse me, the third Tuesday of the month at 2.
My schedule's already pretty tight with during work hour meetings, so, because I just picked up 2. Anybody else interested in the COA?
I believe I'm pretty full up, especially learning
are.
Health Department.
Yeah, that time just doesn't suit my schedule.
That's right during Your work hours, yeah.
Yep.
Otherwise, I'd be more than happy.
All right. Is there any? Yes,
Do you still
ma'am.
want me to continue to go to the LEPC meetings also?
If you'd like to.
Okay.
If not, I'll just brief you
Okay.
on any changes that they might make. So far, it's mostly reports on
All right.
standing. So, just to clarify, the LEPC states that the chair or her absence or his absence, that the vice chair has that spot. So if I were on vacation, which I don't foresee in at least 2 more terms, a big vacation, then the vice chair sits in on that. And it's mostly if there's a huge catastrophe that you'd be activated for anything other than a quarterly meeting.
Okay.
So,
Thank you.
is there any other discussion? Hearing none, the question before the board is the adoption of Resolution 20-4. Resolution to ratify the chairperson's appointments to committees and boards of the commissioners. A roll call vote is required. The clerk will call the roll.
Ms. Connor?
Yes.
Mr. Geiger?
Yes.
Mr. Gibson?
Yes.
Mr. Jackson?
Yes.
Mr. Parker?
Yes.
Mr. Smelter?
Yes,
Mrs. Wade?
Yes. There being a majority of the commissioners in support, the appointments are ratified by the resolution. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion for the adoption of Resolution
Chair, I'm sorry to interrupt. Just a point of clarification, there wasn't a resolution for that, and 2020-4 has been assigned to an upcoming item.
Okay.
So we've just historically approved the appointments.
Okay,
So if
Oh, I'm
that's
sorry.
all right, we'll recognize them, that you still approved them. The motion will just be recognized as approving the appointments by.
just no resolution
Just
number.
no
just no resolution number.
I'm sorry, that's my fault.
Do we need to amend anything?
I guess
There-
I'm okay that, if you're okay, I don't have a procedure, if you may, that we would use other than recognizing that if the motion was not to include a resolution number, it's just a motion. Or the appointments.
Okay. I'm okay with that. If we need to change things later, we will. All right. Adoption of meeting schedules for the Committee of the Whole and Board of Commissioners.
Move to approve?
Second?
Moved by Geiger, support by Smelker for the approval of the attached 2020 meeting schedules for regular meetings of the Committee of the Whole and Board of Commissioners. Discussion.
Yeah, I thought we were gonna try to get a couple night meetings in. I don't know if that's something that can be done on the spur of the moment.
I think it really can. There is also a note on here about rescheduling the MAC conference in August. That conference runs Sunday through Wednesday. And that Committee of the Whole meeting would be on the 18th.
About the night conference in March. I
When-
didn't get a list of the thing in
That's,
my-
I
it's
have
in April now.
Yeah, I haven't seen a schedule for that one yet.
On the
I
back.
checked their website.
So it looks like the only conflict we have is the August. For whatever reason, the March one does not this year.
I checked the MAC website last night, and it said that the legislative conference was April 15th through the 17th, which is a Wednesday through a Friday.
Oh,
That's kind of nice.
That'd be nice.
that's unusual.
That'll affect Calhoun County. They have Thursday night meetings, but it may not be.
I think Allegan has Thursday also. But I think they're in the afternoon, but still, yeah. Anyways, that was on their website last night.
So, Commissioner Parker, do you have recommendation for which meetings you would like to have later in the day?
No, I just thought we ought to discuss it because we felt it'd be nice to have for the public to be able to come in an evening. And I just wanted to remind everybody about that. And if that's something that the group wants to do, we should decide it now, if possible. Or it could be done on a interest basis, too.
Yes, sir.
I think it should be done in the summer because of the road conditions and everything.
Oh, the night meetings?
Yeah.
Should be in the summer?
Yeah, I agree.
Are you sure the summer, because a lot of people have vacations and stuff, but I could see, like
Well-
May,
April through October.
somewhere in there.
What if we did one of the Board of Commissioner meetings a month in the evening?
You're saying the
'Cause-
board, not the cow?
Yeah, well, because the cow, we have so many people that come. We have so many staff members that are here. If we were to do like a Board of Commissioner meeting after 3:30, we could still be done by 5 o'clock, and it would be real short, and we'd be out of here. And it would, like,
That would be considered an evening meeting then?
it's after 3, it's after the shift work from 7 to 3 or 6 to 2. It still affects people who work during the day, but instead of having to take the whole morning off to come to a meeting, they maybe only have to take a couple hours, or move it to 5 o'clock.
I'm not against that at all, but let's not do it for the moment here, because does anybody's committee meetings, is that gonna affect where you can't go?
Yeah, it
here?
would affect mine.
Yeah, let's
Last
just look at all
Tuesday,
the,
fourth Tuesday.
Well, I think it would affect what we're trying to do, because a lot of people don't get out of work till 5. And to get there, I think you'd have to have at least minimum of a 6 o'clock meeting.
Okay, my thoughts were just to try to control overtime of the staff that would need to be here, because you've got, security staff that would have to be in the building, or we would need to move it someplace else. It doesn't make sense to move a public meeting because we can't record it then. It's just logistics, it's not easy. I just didn't want to incur overtime from various departments that might have to come.
One of the things, though, that we've got to realize that we're going to be having a lot of different night meetings coming up with just the building program or jail or whatever for communications. And that may take the place of those things, too. But I thought it should get brought up.
And I appreciate it.
Yeah.
And you're still planning on having them on Tuesday?
That could change too.
I mean,
I don't know
was
what
just
other
looking at
day
my-
in the calendar works for commissioner meetings.
I'm
I
not
mean,
against the night meetings, but we had them before, and we even moved around to different townships, and we didn't get any more people showing up.
Right.
that is probably the most commented topic that I get from constituents is, when are you gonna have more night meetings? I can't make it because of work, or I had to take a day off, and that's outside of no new taxes, that's probably the most common comment that I get.
if we move them, will they show up? I think, I don't know if we should change the schedule of one a month for 12 months, but I'd like to give it a try and see if more people
Right.
show up. If that's what they want. Of course, you're talking to a man that's retired too. I don't hold down a full-time job. I think there's some here that do.
So
There's a lot of township meetings that are in the evenings, too.
There are. They all are.
Yeah.
I just don't know which
If you're having,
a target day, if we want to target a specific meeting of the month to do in the evenings. I think committee of the whole meetings probably should have the luxury of being done in the day in case they do go long. Because if we're going to have a long meeting, it's going to be a committee of the whole meeting. Very seldomly do our Board of Commissioner meetings extend much past an
Times are
hour.
long.
A few
Didn't mean to
times,
interrupt, but
when we have a big presentation or something, they do, but for the most part, they're pretty cut and dried, and they do tend to follow the times that they're scheduled. I think committee of the whole meetings have a tendency to get long, and we should probably keep them during the day. At least for now.
My township meeting that's on a Tuesday is Orangeville, and it's the first Tuesday of the month. So if you're talking about board meetings, it wouldn't be a conflict for me on Tuesday.
Hastings Township is the second Tuesday.
Can't think of any committee meetings or township meetings that a Tuesday would bother for a night meeting for me either.
If it's, I mean, you have the airport on the fourth Tuesday.
No,
Wednesdays.
Wednesdays.
Oh, it says Tuesday here.
I know, I've tried to change that a couple times, but
All right.
Well, I would like to make a motion that we continue with the schedule here with the option of changing it if there's an interest that comes up. Because I know we're gonna have some night meetings with the possible COA and the jail. I really think we're gonna have to, so.
Well, the special meetings, we can
Right.
just primarily focus for evenings. I just think that if we don't change the meeting times now, we will forget later. Or if we only change one, we will forget that. I know Michael keeps stuff ahead of us, but I think we have a tendency to forget if we don't.
I know that the only night meetings that I don't have is on a Friday. So, I mean,
I
they're
don't
not
want to
every
crimp
week,
your let's
but,
get out of town early on Friday
yeah, right.
thing either.
But that would be the only meeting that would meet my schedule, that to not have in the evening. But it isn't gonna be every week that way. It's just, there's something every week that's gonna be on a certain day. So,
I would make a suggestion that if we have a night meeting, we have it at the Titan Center, because it's easier to get to, and there's more seating, and there's more parking, and
worry about
it
security.
doesn't open this big building up for people to be in here, and we won't have security. So it'd be better over there, because we wouldn't have the security at a night meeting.
well, we'd probably have somebody there that would protect us.
You wouldn't have the
They
metal
never
detector.
Wouldn't
they
have
never
them-
come at night.
yeah, you wouldn't have to go through the metal detector.
We never have
Oh, I
security.
mean,
Still have a posse member.
Yeah.
yeah.
Just a suggestion that we have it over
Have one
there,
today, don't we?
Well,
if we have one.
If you want to try a couple meetings, why don't we try May and September? Do them the fourth Tuesday, and we can either do them at 7 PM or 6 PM, whatever the case is. Let's try a couple meetings and see how they go this year. We can schedule them in advance. You know, summer is busy. There's a lot of people running around. It's an election year this year. There'll be a lot of people running around, but May and September probably would be good months to hold a meeting.
Sounds good to me.
Try one.
I don't care.
Good.
May 26th, last Tuesday of the month, is the day after Memorial Day. Everybody be around for that. Does that sound?
Sounds good.
So you want to try 7 first, or do you want to try 6 o'clock?
Well, if we're gonna make it, if we're doing this for the people, we might as well do it for the people and have it at 7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Agreed.
Because otherwise it doesn't run into, no,
What day?
May
26th.
26th.
May 26th. And that's gonna be a Board of Commissioners, okay. 7 PM? If that works out, then maybe then we can decide to change the one
In
in September.
September.
See what happens with that.
Yeah.
Do one at a time, see how it works.
Yep.
Okay.
Any other recommendations for the schedule? We do not run into Christmas issues with the calendar. The last meeting of the month in December would be the 22nd, and there's a 5th Tuesday in December, so that makes it kind of nice. We have an extra week off. The only other thing I can think of is the week of fair. There is a committee of the whole meeting, and if there's not a bunch of agenda items that day, you know, my heart is at the hog show, and we will probably cancel the committee of the whole meeting if there's not agenda items. If there is agenda items, we will deal with it gracefully.
Sounds
How
good.
come the December 22nd one's at 2 PM? What am I missing?
That's a typo.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you, Luella. So now it's fixed. So, any other discussion?
Is the one at 7 PM on May 26th then going to be at the Titan Center?
Do you want to do the evening one at Titan, or do you want to do it here?
I think it'd be
No,
better.
Titan.
Do it at Titan. They do, we'll have to check their schedule, and if Titan's not available, we'll find another space that's appropriately sized. That is starting to get into busy fair meeting time. 4-H uses that office quite regularly. Thank you, Sarah. Any other discussion? The chair would entertain a motion to approve the attached 2020 meeting schedule for regular meetings of the Committee of the Whole and for the Board of Commissioners.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Gibson, well, we already had a motion by Geiger and supported by somebody or another. Smoker. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The meeting schedule is approved. Limited public comment. Any member of the public wishing to address the board may do so for up to 3 minutes.
I have a comment.
Okey dokey.
I really appreciate this board. I've worked on a lot of boards, and I appreciate the fact that everybody listens to each other and tries to come up with a good solution for any of the problems that we have. And that is a very delightful thing to have, is a board that kind of works together. So I appreciate you guys and gals.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan. Any other discussion? Is there any other business to come before the board? There being no further business and without objection, the board will now adjourn.